This fanfiction is only for entertainment purposes, so please don't take it seriously and don't be offended. It's just a story made out of imagination, so it doesn't define any character in real life. I hope you'll enjoy the story and leave positive comments without hating the author and character. I don't own any pictures, but the storylines are completely mine. I will do voiceover so you can mute it if you want. Hope you will like the video. You sat quietly at the long dining table, your hands gently moving the spoon while your eyes stayed fixed on the food. The silence was heavy, only broken by the clinking of plates as servants stood around, watching and waiting. Beside you, your husband, Kim Taehyung, sat with his usual cold and unreadable face. His aura was distant, almost chilling, like always. At the head of the table sat his grandmother, Gundi, her sharp eyes moving between you and Taehyung. Her gaze felt like knives, filled with anger and disappointment. Gundi, coldly, you didn't tell me about your reports? It came yesterday, right? Her sudden question made your heart stop for a moment. You froze, your hand trembling around the spoon. Taehyung confused, frowning, which report? His voice was low, serious. He turned his head to look at you, his eyes searching, clearly unaware of what was happening. You swallowed hard, your voice breaking as you whispered. Wyan, it says. I am infertile. I can't become a mother. The words left your mouth shakily, and you kept your eyes lowered, unable to face anyone. Your hand trembled on your lap. Taehyung's eyes instantly darted to you. For the first time, he didn't look cold or annoyed. He looked terrified. His face was pale, his jaw tight, his breath uneven, like he had just been told his biggest fear. Suddenly, the sound of a plate crashing on the floor echoed in the dining room. You flinched hard, your body stiff, as Gundi's hand slammed against the table. Her glare was deadly. But deep down, you knew the truth. Even if you were infertile, there was another reality no one wanted to admit. In 2 years of marriage, you and Taehyung had never been close, never touched each other as husband and wife. He had always kept his distance. Cold, unreadable, untouchable. At times, you thought he hated you. But there were also moments when you had seen glimpses of his care, small acts that told you otherwise. Yet he always built that wall again, keeping you far away. Gundi, angrily, do you even realize what this means? Before she could finish, Taehyung's voice cut her sharply. Taehyung, cold but urgent, Era. Take my wife home. His words were firm, final. Era, your maid, immediately stepped forward. Gundi, furious, I am not done with her. Taehyung, snapping, louder this time, but she is. Go back home. For the first time, his voice carried urgency, almost desperation. It wasn't just coldness, it was like he couldn't bear you sitting there another second. Confused and shaken, you stood up slowly. You didn't understand why he suddenly wanted you away, but you followed Era. As you left the room, you felt his eyes burning into your back. Behind you, Taehyung let out a shaky breath, his hands tightening into fists under the table. His mask of coldness was cracking, but only he knew why. A sharp slap echoed in the closed study room, landing across Taehyung's cheek. His head tilted slightly from the force, but he didn't flinch, didn't move. He just stood there, taking it, as if he already knew this was coming. Gundi, furious, voice trembling with rage, do you really think sending her away will save her from me? Do you think she deserves to live after hiding such a thing from me? She can't become a mother? My bloodline ends here. Taehyung lifted his eyes, his face cold, but inside his chest his heart was hammering. Taehyung, low, steady, I knew. I knew from the start. It was a lie. He had only found out with you, but he couldn't let Gundi see the truth. Another slap came across his face, harder this time. Then another. And another. His cheeks turned red, swollen, but he stood like a stone, silent, his fists clenched at his side. Gundi, breathing heavily, sharp voice, divorce her. I'll find another wife for you. Someone who can continue my legacy. His jaw tightened. His chest burned at the thought of losing you, but he kept his mask on. Taehyung, coldly, no need. Your heir already exists. Gundi's eyes widened. Gundi, snapping, what? Taehyung, I have a 5-year-old son. I knew you'd find out today, so I brought him to my mansion. I've already given an exclusive interview to the reporters. It will be published tonight. Even if you're thinking of killing him like you tried to kill me once, it's useless. The world will know." His words fell like heavy stones in the room. Gundy's face turned red with fury. She grabbed whatever came to her handbooks, vases, pens, and hurled them at him. He stood still, letting things crash against him. Gundy screaming, like father, like son. Both worthless. Both a disgrace to my name. You be it starred. Her rage reached its peak. She went to her cupboard and pulled out the old whip, the same one she had used on him since childhood. The sharp crack of leather filled the room as it lashed across his back. Taehyung, shaky voice, muffled groan, dash. But no one heard. No one ever heard. This was the same cursed room where his childhood cries had been buried, where his pain was invisible to the world. The whip struck again. And again. Until his shirt tore. Until his skin broke. Until his body was covered in red. He collapsed to the floor, blood pooling beneath him, his body trembling but refusing to give up. His breaths were uneven, but his face stayed cold. Finally, when her arms tired, Gundy threw the whip aside. "Gundy, spitting with hate, you'll always be useless. Just like your father." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her, leaving Taehyung lying in his own blood. His eyes stared at the ceiling, filled with pain, but also with something else, a determination burning deep inside. Because he knew, if he had to destroy himself to protect you, he would. Taehyung hissed as the antiseptic stung his open wounds. His shirt lay in tatters beside him, his back and chest covered in cuts. Jimin, his personal doctor and only friend, worked silently with trembling hands, eyes glassy with unshed tears. He was the only one who knew Taehyung's secret. The only one allowed inside this cruel cycle of pain, because Gundy needed someone to patch Taehyung up every time she tore him apart. And she knew Jimin's weakness, so she blackmailed him into silence. Taehyung's hand, shaky and bloodied, gripped Jimin's wrist tightly. His voice was hoarse but firm. "Taehyung, take Rien to my mansion. As my heir, my illegitimate son. Make sure this news spreads tonight. No one should be able to stop it." Jimin froze, his heart sinking. His eyes shot up to Taehyung's pale face, disbelief written all over him. "Jimin," voice cracking, but what about Hwan?" At the mention of your name, Taehyung fell, utterly silent. His throat tightened, his jaw clenched. For a long moment, he couldn't say a word. Jimin, pleading, "Can I tell her? Please, if you don't let me, she'll completely break after hearing this news. At least let her know the truth." Taehyung's eyes slowly closed. His breath was shaky and then, with a single tear rolling down his cheek, he whispered, "Taehyung, at least she'll still be alive after hearing this. At least her body will survive. But if she ever learns the full truth, Jimin, she won't live to hear another thing. Because no one survives after finding out my secret." Jimin's hands froze. His heart ached at the weight of his best friend's words. Taehyung leaned back weakly, his eyes burning as memories clawed their way back. He remembered the day his world had shattered. His mother, so simple, so pure, from a middle-class family, had been the love of his father's life. His father, a powerful man, had gone against the world to marry her. When the news spread, the outside world gossiped. Some admired their love, but for Gundy, it was a humiliation. An unforgivable stain on her pride. So his father had made a choice. He had bought another mansion, away from the main house, where he could live peacefully with his wife and son. That mansion, the one where Taehyung now lived with you, protecting you silently from the same monster who had ruined his childhood. But peace never lasted. One day, his parents died in a so-called accident. And he, just a boy then, was dragged back to the main house. Back into the room where screams were useless, back into the darkness where pain became his shadow. He had never escaped. Not even now. Taehyung opened his eyes again, finding Jimin staring at him with silent pain. Jimin, softly, almost whispering, "What if I told her in secret about Rien's true story?" At least then she won't misunderstand you. For the first time that night, Taehyung let out a broken chuckle. His lips curved, but it wasn't a smile. It was bitter, almost mocking. Taehyung, she's surrounded by Gundy's people. Every move she makes is being watched. Every word she speaks is being reported. Do you think Gundy won't find out if you tell her? You know what will happen when she does. Jimin's face dropped. His chest tightened in helplessness. Taehyung let out a long, shaky breath. His eyes softened for a second, as if he was silently praying. Taehyung, whispering, I just hope we can survive this, Jimin. That she can survive this. Your whole body trembled as you stood by the window, watching. From your room, you saw Jimin walking into the mansion, and beside him was a little boy. Your breath hitched. The same little boy you had just seen on the news. The same child the world was calling Kim Taehyung's son. The headlines still rang in your ears, business tycoon Kim Taehyung's hidden son revealed. Illegitimate heir of the Kim empire. Your fists clenched tight around your dress. The boy looked about 5 years old. That meant Taehyung had another woman in his life, long before you were here. Your lips trembled as your thoughts choked you. One in mind, so this is why you never touched me? This is why you never accepted me as your wife? Because your heart already belonged to someone else. Your life already had someone else in it. Your knees gave way and you collapsed to the floor. Tears poured down your face. For years you had locked your pain away, but tonight it came rushing back, burning every part of you. Your phone suddenly rang. You looked at the caller ID, Jack. Your brother. Or at least, that's what the world called him. In truth, he was only your brother by blood. Memories stabbed you. You had been kidnapped as a baby and returned to your family when you were 8. But by then, everything had changed. Your father had already adopted another girl, Sarah. She had taken your place. She was loved, cherished, the center of their world. And you? You became the outsider, the unwanted, the intruder. Your brothers bullied you. Your father ignored you. You learned that not all abuse leaves bruises, some scars live inside the heart. Wiping your tears, you picked up the call. Jack, shouting, angry, what the hell is wrong with you? Why weren't you answering, you idiot? Do you know how worried I was after seeing the news? You could hear another voice in the background, your eldest brother, Max, telling him to calm down. A bitter laugh escaped your lips. Worried? Them? For you? No. They were only worried about their name, their reputation. Jack, confused, why are you laughing? Wyan, mocking, cold, because you cracked a good joke. Worried? About the filth of your house? Concerned for the filthy child of sin? Who are you trying to fool, Mr. Jack? The line went quiet. You knew he remembered. He had once called you those very words as a child. You still remembered how he had looked you in the eyes and said no one wanted you, that he wished you disappeared forever. Jack, hesitant, I was a child back then. I didn't understand. You chuckled bitterly, cutting him off. Wyan, I was a child too. The only difference? You were born in riches. I came back from rags. That's all. Silence. Then another voice. Max must have snatched the phone. Max, softly, Wyan, listen. Wyan, sharply, no need, Mr. Max. You stayed silent all those years while I was treated like dirt. Keep silent now too. Words from you mean nothing. Just pass the phone to the one who made you call me. Let's not waste time. And then, as you expected, you heard the voice you despised most. Mr. Lee, calm, controlled, come back home. I'll take care of everything. No one will trouble you. You can live freely again. Your chest tightened. The same man who never told the world the truth, that Sarah was adopted and you were his real daughter. The same man who let you live unloved. Wyan, cold, firm, Mr. Lee, I told you before, but let me repeat it one last time. Even if I die, I would rather die here alone than return to you. Stop interfering in my life. I don't need you anymore. And with that, you cut the call. Your breaths came fast, your chest heaving. Then you froze. A small voice came from behind. You turned, and there he was. Ryan. The boy. Taehyung's son. Your heart stopped for a second. His big, innocent eyes looked at you curiously. So pure. So unaware of the storm around him. Your hand trembled. You wanted to hate him, but you couldn't, because none of this was his fault. He was just a child, an innocent soul. Your tears blurred your vision as you knelt down and opened your arms. Hwan, come here. Slowly, he walked up to you. His tiny arms wrapped around your neck, and you hugged him, softly, carefully. Crying, but smiling too. From a distance, Jimin stood watching. His chest ached, but a small, sad smile appeared on his lips. At least, you hadn't turned your heart to stone. For days passed by with you living with Ryan like everything was normal. Like his presence didn't remind you again and again of your husband's betrayal. You were trying your best to give him a mother's love, and surprisingly, he turned out to be a shy yet clingy child who loved holding onto you. But 4 days, and there was no trace of Taehyung. No call. No message. Nothing. Just silence. Like he didn't care what you were going through. And that silence hurt the most. That evening, you came out of the kitchen with a chocolate cake in your hands. There was a small smile on your face, maybe for Ryan, maybe to hide your own pain. But the smile dropped the moment your eyes fell on him. Taehyung. He was kneeling in front of Ryan, talking to him softly, even smiling. For a second, your heart stopped. 1,000 questions rushed into your mind. Why? Why didn't he give you any explanation till now? Why come back so late? Did he still have a relation with Ryan's mother? Your grip tightened on the plate until your knuckles turned white. Slowly, you took steps toward him. His eyes met yours for a brief second, but then he looked away immediately. That single glance, it broke you more than anything else. He stood up silently and walked past you, heading toward your shared room without a word. Your heart sank. It was clear he wasn't going to give you any answers. Because he didn't care. Unknowingly, you blinked away the tears and forced yourself to stand still. You didn't see how Taehyung's eyes had softened when he left. He had seen Era following you closely from behind, and he knew he wasn't going to get a chance to talk to you anytime soon. Ryan, cake. Ryan's little voice brought you back. He came running towards you with a bright smile. You forced your lips to curve upward, hiding the storm inside you. You had always been used to hiding pain with a smile. Hwan, yes. It's your favorite, isn't it? You said softly, kneeling down to his level. Ryan nodded eagerly and hugged you, while you held him tighter, because right now, he was the only warmth you had. Taehyung glanced at the clock. It was sharp 2 a.m. The empty side of the bed was enough proof. You had no intention of sharing the room with him tonight. A dull ache spread in his chest, one he couldn't control anymore. He lay down slowly, his arm resting on his forehead as he stared at the blank ceiling. The silence of the room felt heavier than any words. Every second that passed without you near him dug deeper into his heart. He turned his head to the side, eyes falling on the untouched pillow beside him. Your pillow. The faint scent of you still lingered, and that was the only thing keeping him from breaking apart completely. He shut his eyes tightly, but sleep refused to come. His mind kept wandering to where you were, probably in Ryan's room, holding the boy close, giving him the comfort Taehyung desperately craved for himself. The distance you had created was louder than any scream. The loneliness wrapped around him like a cold blanket, suffocating, making his chest heavy. He wanted to move, to walk to you, to explain, but his body stayed frozen on the bed. Maybe because deep down, he feared you wouldn't even look at him the way you once did. The night stretched on endlessly. Every tick of the clock reminded him that he was losing you, not because of time, but because of his own silence. And for the first time in years, John Taehyung felt powerless, not in front of the world, but in front of the woman he loved. For days had passed, yet you never once stepped inside Taehyung's room. Nights were spent with Ryan, reading him stories, holding him close, and pretending everything was fine. But today was different. You stood frozen in the middle of the living room, your breath caught in your throat. She was here. Gundy. In 2 years of your marriage, she had never once stepped into this mansion. This place was always your safe space, the only reason you had survived. Because as long as Taehyung was here, he never allowed her shadow to cross this boundary. But today, with him gone out of the city and Rayen taken along, that protection was stripped away. Your heart thudded in your chest, a strange uneasiness wrapping around you. And before you could even gather yourself, a sharp sting burned across your face. A hard slap. Your eyes widened in shock. She had never raised her hand on you before. Never. Because he had always been there. But now you were standing here, completely alone. Gundy's cold eyes pierced through you as her venomous words followed. Gundy, even if you cannot become a mother, that does not mean you can ignore your wife's duties. She clicked her tongue, her voice filled with disgust. Gundy, TCH. If only you were good enough, then he wouldn't need to go to another woman. If only you knew how to please him, instead of wasting time getting angry at him. Gundy leaned closer, her voice dropping lower, colder. Gundy, but don't worry. Today, I will teach you. The same way I taught your husband. So you will never forget why you are here, and what your only duty is. Taehyung pushed open the door of his room, exhaustion weighing on his shoulders. The long trip had drained him, but something else gnawed inside, something strange. His body felt unusually hot, restless, craving, something he couldn't name. His steps halted. His gaze landed on you. You were sitting on the edge of the bed, wrapped in a delicate nightgown that flowed around you like silk, your head bowed, your hands clenched in your lap. The lamplight painted you fragile, almost breakable, and yet devastatingly beautiful. For a moment, the world around him blurred. His heart began to pound harder in his chest, a heaviness settling inside him that he couldn't control. He wanted to step forward, to touch, to hold, but his fists clenched at his sides, torn between desire and the storm inside him. It was breathtaking. But it was also heartbreaking. Because he knew there was a story behind why you were here like this, silent and vulnerable. A story that burned like poison in his veins. He swallowed hard, his throat dry. His eyes darkened as the war inside him snapped, his voice low and rough, laced with something raw and dangerous. Taehyung, strip. The single word sliced through the silence of the room, hanging heavy in the air. And in that moment, everything shifted. To be continued.